Hello. This is the 165th Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2224, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
My name is Simon.
And my name's Marvin.
And we're putting the past in podcast. Hey, there's three of us.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Yes. We have co-host slash guest slash topic of the week.
Yeah, all three combined.
Yes, I'm glad to be back.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm also happy that you are our guest again and co-host and provided the topic of the week.
Mm-hmm. It's very considerate of you.
Excellent. Am I getting paid for this or no?
No.
No.
Okay. Well,
It's not that kind of show.
No. But you get free pretzels.
that'll do.
Right? Did we get the pretzels?
Sure, yes, we did.
Okay, yes.
Let's say yes. Our listeners, they'll believe us.
They definitely will. But before we get to the topic of the week, we have to talk about one thing.
Yep.
For us, very exciting.
Yep. For you especially, it's my new living room floor. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned a while ago, I was going to get a lava floor fitted here in my living room.
Really cool.
It's here, and of course for you two guys, it's the first time you're seeing it. It was fitted a few days ago. Took a little while to cool down there.
Yes.
But what's nice, so right now it's cooled down. We're obviously here. We're sitting on chairs with our feet resting on the floor is the point. And right earlier it was a bit too hot for that. By now it's solidified. And also what's nice is you can tell if it was solidifying naturally, it would be kind of bumpy. But you use some force fields, so now it's completely smooth as well.
I remember when you were talking about it, I really thought it's going to be like melting.
Oh, like liquid, like bubbling and...
Yeah, exactly. I was really imagining...
I mean, that's how it was when it was installed.
But can you make it lava?
Yeah, you can reactivate, especially pretty warm weather nowadays, so I don't want to use it. But in the winter, that'll be real nice when it gets cold, have a nice liquid lava floor.
Mm-hmm. As someone made of metal, it is rather disturbing to potentially lose my limbs to a very intense heat.
You being metal, that would, of course, melt you. Us being flesh and bone, it would hurt us too.
Sure.
We wouldn't do too well.
You could potentially just jump out of the way, but if my feet are actually melting, then that's not really possible.
Yeah.
That's true, actually.
Have you got some nice sensors, though, like to detect changes in temperature? Maybe you let us know in case the floor starts to heat up.
Yes, they're in my toes.
Oh, perfect.
So they would be first thing to go.
Well, yeah. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. So, luckily, there are some safety measures. It doesn't instantly turn to liquid. That would be too rude. It takes a while to gradually warm up, And actually, I was saying in the winter, it would be nice to keep the room warm. I'm not going to actually turn it to actual liquid because then my desk would sink, my chair would sink.
Fair enough.
But get it just a little bit warm.
But how high up will the melting become a problem?
I wouldn't like to say. It's never happened.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we're not going to test it today.
Then yes.
You come back, co-host with us in the winter. Maybe we'll find out, but not today.
So do you plan on having it like really liquid?
Completely liquid. Yeah, occasionally I will. Basically, when I want to clean the floor, I'll take my furniture out into the hallway and then turn the whole floor to liquid lava, and all the dust and whatever will just get evaporated. And then, cool it back down with the force field so it's perfectly smooth again. Be very honest. And of course it will look fun, while it's that liquid lava. Well, of course I'll get on my hoverboard, float around above it, looking down, going, ooh, that's so cool. Or so hot, but
Would your neighbour have any concerns, perhaps?
No, they totally fitted, beneath the lava, there's an extra layer of force fields to make sure it doesn't drip down to the floor below.
Okay. As long as the electricity will keep working.
Yeah, and electricity keeps working forever, so it's all good.
Of course, and also if the electricity stops working, the lava cools down.
Exactly.
Hey, works out. Cool. And then if you have it solidified again, you can also make it solidify in a bit of a ramp. So
Right. At the moment, I'm just keeping it completely flat. But exactly, imagine you want some mini golf. You can get it formed into a really cool course for that.
Wow.
Pretty fun. Lots of options.
I suppose if you ever wanted to toast marshmallows, it'd be very simple.
Yeah, right. You don't have to turn the whole floor into lava, or don't have to heat the whole floor up. You can just heat one particular part, make it even raise up into a little pillar, maybe have some nice flaming rock on top. That was the sound of a bit cooling just in the corner there, but I don't know if the microphone picked it up, but I saw your face, Marvin. You looked a bit surprised by that. Bonk.
Yes, there was kind of a bit of a boulder thing happening there.
Yeah, it's just the rock cooling down.
I have to say, I do still have to get used to it.
Yeah, it's a different look, yeah.
Yeah, and also...
It's obsidian, so it looks pretty different. I used to have a light wood. That's not wood, basically. A wooden floor that was very light in color, and now it's black glass. So it's a different look.
I mean, I don't just mean the looks, just the idea of that it could just accidentally start heating up below our feet.
So you've not had, because I've not had lava floor before, but I've had underfloor heating in previous places I've lived. So it's basically just like that, but with lava.
Just with lava, because we're sitting on it. If somebody just accidentally bumps into the switch and then it starts.
Oh yeah, right. By the way, don't do that.
Okay, that's good.
Is that just there? You see the light switch? Is that new switch that's fitted just next to it?
That's not the light switch.
No, the white one's the light switch, and the slightly cream-coloured one, that's the one for the lava.
I thought it was the other way around.
Take care.
Okay, good. It's not getting dark yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, that's it for your lava floor. We have a very exciting topic. It's called Robot Without a Cause. And that's not a phrase.
I mean, it is too, but I mean, that's why Marvin is back, yeah? We spoke about this in an episode where, so I'm saying you, Marvin, when you were here previously, we spoke about this briefly, and now it's happening for real.
Indeed, yes, the bar.
Mm-hmm. It's a bar.
It's a bar that can be anywhere.
Mm-hmm. It must have been a few episodes. Usually we speak about something for years and then get around to it.
Like the lava floor took a while there.
For me, it feels like we spoke about this 3 episodes ago. Came up with the idea live on the episode. A couple of weeks later, the bar's there.
Yeah, it's already up and running.
So you don't procrastinate, I guess. Evidently you don't, or at least in this case.
No, I don't sleep. I have a lot of time. So, why not? Sure. Why stand around?
Mm-hmm. Sure, you don't sleep. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, twice the speed. Cool. So that was actually pretty exciting, and we thought we could go there, or we could ask you about it on the episode.
Bring me here.
Yeah, I mean, for the episode, exactly, and then maybe after, we go there for a drink after the show,
Yeah, I'm quite excited, but neither me or Simon have actually been there.
Oh, I looked at some pictures on your website, but I haven't actually visited in person.
Well, you're welcome to come, of course.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, let's go after the show, yeah.
Invite all kinds of patrons, humans, aliens, robots, of course. Yes, everyone is welcome.
Thank you.
So did you stick with the idea that it moves?
Yes, it literally does move. I mean, it kind of...
but not for our listeners. So for our listeners, you don't mean move like it's got legs that it walks around on?
No, more of a floating kind of...
But does it float from place to place, or does it teleport from place to place?
It can do both. I mean, more floating than teleporting at the moment, just because it takes a bit less energy. But yes, I mean, also makes it better for people to find it. If it's teleporting from place to place, you can't really find it that easily.
But if they see it floating along, like to its
yes, I mean, it's difficult to advertise something that doesn't have a permanent location. So, floating tends to be the better option, I found. I park it somewhere in a specific spot, in the centre of a city, somewhere popular, and then, people can see it, as opposed to like jumping around.
Blinking in and out of existence.
Teleporting in and out of space, then it's obviously hard to keep up with it. Yeah.
But then word gets around with, hey, the bar is over there, and then people start appearing. Or
yes, I mean, it's also difficult, if you've got 1 foot in the bar and then suddenly we teleport somewhere else, then you end up...
I mean, you could do it after closing time, I guess actually, I'm saying you could. You've been running how long now? For a week? Or how long have you been
It's been a couple of weeks, yes. I found there's been, obviously, a few incidents. If you combine consumption of alcohol with teleportation, there are certain risks inherent in that kind of dynamic. You have to make sure, as I say, that everyone's fully on board, literally, before you teleport somewhere else. Otherwise, yes, you could end up with some nasty surprises. Particularly, if you're choosing to teleport over a volcano, which did happen a few days ago. Make sure that people aren't just going to accidentally go to the toilets and then fall into a pit of lava.
One that's not cooled down but still bubbling. That would be pretty dangerous.
Yes, and you can't switch one of those types of lavas off.
Not as easily as here, correct.
And you have an alcohol license?
In some countries, yes. I mean, that's another reason to move around.
I was going to say, that explains the moving around bit.
Yes. We are kind of dependent on the laws and regulations in the particular countries. So, yes, does have its drawbacks. Sometimes certain laws come up in certain countries.
So I guess you have different. So when you're in such jurisdictions, then you serve alcohol. When you're in other ones where it's not allowed, then you serve sinful.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Me and Simon have been to a place where we had alcohol once.
Yeah, the Bacchanal.
Yeah, the Bacchanal. Right?
Indeed.
I was wondering, does your bar then sometimes also take basically, do you have it sometimes at a Bacchanal?
Absolutely, yes. The Bacchanal mode is activated upon arriving in a certain designated area. Yes, and then we could even change the colour of the outside of the bar to designate that we now serve alcohol.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Usually for a limited time, perhaps.
Maybe for our listeners and for us, can you maybe describe what the bar looks like?
Currently, I mean, it's gone through several permutations recently, but
Just in the last, just since you've opened.
No, I'm talking about the last few minutes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I mean, it's got a kind of a chameleonic kind of field around it, right? So that you can project whatever you basically want, which I'm having some trouble with. So it does tend to change on a whim. So I might not be able to find it again when I leave here. Hopefully, it is where I parked it. The last time I looked, it was kind of resembling a literal bar. It's kind of floating in the air, with stools, etc.
I was just going to say, just for our listeners, like we know what you're talking about, but just for our listeners, not a bar like a rod of metal, but a bar like somewhere you go for drinks.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I think everyone did understand, but just to be...
Yes, wooden kind of long wooden, beams and seats floating basically in the air. Don't quite ask me how it does that, but
I mean,
Nice.
using hover technology. And said you contracted that part out, but I'm presuming hover technology.
I assume so.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. I don't actually like to think about it. I just expect that it works, and it usually does.
Yeah. And it's good that it hovers. You don't have to worry about what kind of ground it's above. Where if it did have, for example, wheels or legs, you'd have to take more consideration of that.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have to watching out for certain flying fauna, but otherwise, most of the time, the floating is advantageous.
I mean, the space you mentioned just a moment ago, above a volcano, very advantageous.
Indeed, if you manage not to fall off whilst going to the toilet.
I mean, I was going to say, so you mentioned you've been open for a couple of weeks now, and the exterior changes very frequently. How often are you moving around, and have you had any accidents so far?
Well, the moving around tends to coincide with the accident, so if there has been an accident, then we'll probably move a little quicker before the authorities catch up with us.
It's good that our show goes back 200 years, so that way no
Absolutely.
modern-day authorities will know about these kinds of things.
But the thing is that it sounds very elusive anyway, so you don't know where it is, you don't know what it looks like, not even you yourself, so there's nothing you can kind of spoil yet on air because
Right, it will be different when we
it's kind of hard to find for you anyway.
Yes, well, it is. And the listeners, I think, will just have to picture it in their mind's eye, and indeed so will I, in order for me to try and find it again when I go.
But then you'll have a lot of, what's it called? Traffic that just passes by, just people that are like, hey, that sounds cool, let's go there.
Yes, I mean, we can park up alongside traffic if necessary. If people are stuck in traffic and they need a drink, then we can certainly do that.
Cool.
Ah, nice, yeah, like go by their windows. Like, especially if they need to stay in their vehicle, you can move alongside them.
Yes, we can just pass along the drinks while they wait in the traffic. Yes, indeed.
So, did I understand it right that there's cats in the bar?
There have been.
Like, as patrons?
A bit of both. I mean, there was a particular moment where we had both staff and customers that were feline. Not quite sure what happened there. I did go out for supplies and I came back and there were cats everywhere.
Including serving drinks.
Serving drinks and consuming drinks.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
And snacks, etc., fish.
And getting petted and...
By people or by cats?
Cats.
About both?
So cats were petted. Yeah, I mean, I understood you have
cats.
wait
Everything
staff
was
who were cats, customers were cats, and then...
And like animal cats.
Yes, everything was cats.
Okay.
The as I say, the chameleon circuit or the Congo or everything seemed to have been stuck on cat mode. And everything was cats.
I see. I mean, that sounds delightful for cats, I guess.
If yes, of course, if you like cats. But it did take a while to remove all of the cats.
Ah, sure. And the furballs too, I guess.
Yes. So again, parking over a volcano was
nice.
advantageous for cleaning up.
For the hairballs,
Yes.
yeah, not for the cats themselves. They were
No,
safely deposited
no,
elsewhere.
Completely humanely, yes. I mean, there was a dog or two involved, but yes.
Okay. Interesting memories. I had a bunch of questions that could be easily answered by
Maybe
going there.
Oh, by going there, I was going to say, yeah.
But do you have anything in particular you want to know about
to
the
know
bar?
in,
Because
to know
I
in
could,
advance.
I could
yeah.
probably fill like 3 episodes just inquiring about it.
I mean, I have a question. So, Marvin, are you the sole person who works there? Like, are you behind the bar yourself serving drinks, or?
Well, no. I mean, obviously, I'm here right now.
Not right now, I know, but in general.
We do have staff, part-time staff, apart from cats. I mean, they were not official staff. Yes, mostly other robots.
But then do they travel with the bar? Or is it that when you get to a new location that, people who live there?
Yes, a bit of both. I mean, I have some staff on board for the duration, and some local part-time staff that come on board when we park up in a particular area.
Cool.
If we need a certain specialization, cocktail expert from a particular country that provides some of the local drinks and local flavors, then yes, that's something we put out the message for people to come along, offer their services.
Cool. Do you have any specialities? Like,
well, we have a particular, we have a lot of robot clientele, obviously, and catering to robotic needs is rather a niche skill. So we have someone who we do have as a robotic cocktail maker.
Cool.
Yes, he invented a drink called a screwdriver.
Very nice.
Which does actually
come
with literally a screwdriver.
Like an actual screwdriver. And, I mean, to let our listeners in on a secret, we prepared these questions in advance. So I wanted to ask when you had mentioned that before we recorded, but I didn't. I wanted to save the question for on air. It's an actual screwdriver, right? That you could use it to actually tighten and loosen screws.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
But is it made, like in my mind, I'm imagining it being made of like mineral oil that's frozen, so it's solid, Then you have it in the drink, and then it like melts and then becomes part of the drink. Is it that, or is it just literally a regular screwdriver? You can't.
No, imagine a cocktail glass with a liquid inside it, and then a screwdriver stuck in the glass.
And it doesn't melt into mineral oil or something like that. It stays.
Not unless you put some kind of acid in there.
Sure.
Yes.
But it's meant
or
more.
alcohol.
Yeah, but that's not right now. Not here in Frankfurt, anyway.
It's literally a screwdriver.
Okay.
Maybe with a twist of lemon.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. A screwdriver with a twisted lemon. I like that. Maybe I'm going to try it out. Or at least sniff it.
I mean, okay, you've only been open 2 weeks, but are you concerned at all that maybe people will hear about this drink and they'll buy it to collect the screwdrivers? Like the screwdriver itself will somehow sell for a lot on the second-hand market. And so, so is that a concern?
No, I mean, the screwdriver itself is, to be honest, probably one of the cheaper brands. It's not something that we would like to spend a lot of time and resources making the screwdrivers, because they are kind of disposable. So, no, I wouldn't, not too concerned about that.
Okie doke.
Is there any location that you've been to that you particularly liked?
Let me see. Yes, there was one quite recently, actually, as part of a kind of soft opening, you could say. We were invited to the moon.
Cool.
There was this
Nice.
chap there, this businessman, Michael Lasagna.
No, Michael Lasagna.
Lasagna.
Yeah, we've
Lasagna.
had him on the show. Yeah. We
Right,
met him
yes,
in
he
Frankfurt.
invited me to,
a long time ago.
set up in the lobby of his company building. And he has quite a mix of human and robotic staff. And yes, I think that went down well.
Cool. How's he doing?
I didn't meet the man himself. He seemed very
Okay.
elusive, very, very elusive. I only spoke with a third party. He seemed someone that's very, very busy inventing and doing strange things.
But there was a lot of foot traffic when you were there in the lobby?
Well, more like moon boots, but yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Cool. It's a shame you can. I was really interested in how he was doing. We used to have him. We had him on the show twice actually a long time ago, but he lost his voice since.
Yeah, right.
So, okay. Did you meet any other interesting patrons? Is that the word? Patrons?
I think patrons.
A person visiting a bar?
Well,
Customer maybe, but let's go with patrons.
Patrons sounds really fancy.
Yes, I mean, as I say, there's been a rather large amount of robots and an artificial clientele that we have. A particular chap who rode in on a human. Apparently this robot has a kind of cowboy fantasy, and the human has a fantasy to be a horse. So the two somehow found each other and have a perfect relationship. So they tend to go around riding into bars and ordering drinks.
Does the person who wants to be a horse, have they had use their cyborg chip to change their body into a horsey way?
No, just kind of bent over.
Okay, like just with the robot on their back.
Yeah,
like giving him a piggyback.
Yeah, making strange horsey noises.
Sure,
cool. They were just horsing around.
Indeed.
I had to put that in.
Of course.
But that sounds like almost. I'm imagining a saloon now myself.
Yes, it was that particular permutation of the bar. Yes, it had taken the
like a Western.
Yes, taken on the guise of a Western saloon with the swinging doors, etc. And someone playing the piano who would stop immediately when someone walks in who they don't like.
Cool. That's my favorite part of a saloon. Nice. I'm now wondering if it can look like a saloon or any of the other things that you mentioned. Is there anything that never changes? Like a pink umbrella engraved on the front.
Right, something for people to ground themselves.
Yeah, exactly. You walk by, it's like, oh, look at that. There's the pink umbrella. This is the bar. This is Robot Without a Cause.
Well, yes, there is, of course, somewhere, if you look carefully, a switch. That's basically on-off switch of the entire bar. So whatever permutation the bar takes, there will always be somewhere a switch, which sometimes I have to find when I want to go shut down for the night.
And so that switches off the chameleon circuitry on the outside?
Yes, everything. Yes.
The hover mode? Like, does it just go...
Yes.
So, okay.
Slowly it goes down.
Slowly.
Okay.
Not suddenly.
So the bar doesn't actually disappear?
No.
Because then the switch would disappear.
That would be tricky. Especially tricky to find it again when you want to switch it on.
Parks itself.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
But the switch does tend to move around, so I have to find it.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense. It needs to be a bit of a challenge. Right?
Yeah. I had one last question, which was, I think we mentioned, or we asked, or speculated. So at some point when you were here before, Marvin, we were talking about the idea of there being maybe a TV show. But now I can't remember. Was the TV show going to be based on the bar, or was the bar going to be based on the TV show?
I think the TV show was originally going to be based on me, and then they lost interest in that, and then it became based on the bar. And now this whole idea seems to have been abandoned completely.
Okay. Did they keep the title or also that?
Yes, I mean, they kept the title, but I think they'll probably end up making something completely different with that title. But who knows? I mean, maybe if the bar becomes popular enough...
Sure, maybe they'll come back to actually making it
around.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because if the series is still named after the bar, even though it ends up being a jellyfish doing a graffiti workshop or whatever, it's still named after the bar, so it can still have...
Yes, we can follow its progress and watch it in the bar, and then we can...
Have viewing parties,
especially
for the premiere, maybe.
Okay. So any particular problems you're facing at the moment, or everything going up from...
Well, yes, as I said, it depends where we travel in the world. I mean, most countries, we tend to fit in, we do what we need, and then we move on. The only problem I had was in Germany, when I was chased for money for a TV license. I didn't even own a TV at that point. They came after me for money.
They don't even make TVs anymore, right?
No. I saw some in the museum last year, but you can't buy a new one anymore.
Yeah. It's interesting. So, they haven't made TVs in centuries.
Yes, but this German TV license authority still exists, and apparently they're so big now that they're basically the entire German government is made up of TV license authority, even though no one has TV anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's they wanted to change that, I heard. Yeah, let's see when it happens. Okay, cool. So I'm really looking forward to actually going there.
Yeah. And shall we wrap up the episode and then we can go for a drink? Oh, but before we wrap up the episode, do we have time? Shall we answer some listener questions?
Because it's actually for Marvin, the listener question, I remember.
Ah, yeah, okay, that's totally planned, not a coincidence. So, okay, I'll read out the question then, and feel free to answer it, Marvin.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a question, an email from Hassan-san, and it goes, Hello, Marvin. I hope I can ask you a question through this email address. I was wondering, where did you get the name Marvin from? Could it by any chance be a tribute to the robot of the same name from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Cheers, Hassan-san.
I don't know what you mean. I've not heard of that. Was it a film?
I have no idea.
I also don't know yet. So, Hassan-san, if you want, you can send another email answering Marvin's questions. But sorry, go on, Marvin.
Well, of course, you have to bear in mind that my memory was wiped when I changed into my current personality about 50 years ago. So my original naming origins have also been wiped. However, of course, I did find my name because I didn't know my name when I first awoke from the memory wipe. My name, or the name of Marvin, was written on a towel which was around my neck at the time. So.
Sure.
That's a clue.
Like monogrammed on the towel, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So then clearly, towel around your neck, that's going to be your towel, hence that you knew that was your name.
Or it was from a hotel called Marvin.
Huh. Mm-hmm. It's also a good name.
I think that's typically something that you don't fact check. Name was on a towel.
Mm-hmm. I was happy with the name, so why not keep it?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. By the way, he also wrote a PS. He said,
"Oh yeah,
which kind of robot are you?" So we can answer that.
We could.
You want to answer it?
Well, what do you think?
Okay, it's the thing where we need to not guess, but you know what I mean? Like look at you, judge, and see if we get it right, that kind of thing.
It's the easiest category.
It's pretty easy, yeah. So, Hassan-san, Marvin is an android.
Yes. So you want to know about all the other top types of robot? We have a whole episode about that.
Episode.
But Marvin is an android.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest faction. Okay.
Okay,
cool.
And so let me tell our listeners.
Yes.
That question from Hassan-san was emailed to us at michaellasagna5@gmail.com, and we would very much appreciate it if you, listening to this show right now, would send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com with the number 165 in the subject line so that we can know this episode successfully travelled back in time.
All right. Thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.